United States President Joe Biden's most important quotes. The American story depends not on any one of us, not on some of us, but on all of us. Here we stand, just days after a riotous mob thought they could use violence to silence the will of the people, to stop the work of our democracy, to drive us from this sacred ground. It did not happen. It will never happen. Not today. Not tomorrow. Not ever. All our differences hardly measure up to the values we all hold in common. We have never, ever, ever, ever failed in America when we've acted together. My mother's creed is the American creed: no one is better than you. You're everyone's equal, and everyone is equal to you. Folks, winning means uniting America, not sowing seeds of division and anger and hate. We got to beat Donald Trump, and we will, but we can't become like him. If you do politics the right way, I believe, you can actually make people's lives better. And integrity is the minimum ante to get into the game. We need an economy that rewards work, not just wealth. We must rekindle the fire of idealism in our society, for nothing suffocates the promise of America more than unbounded cynicism and indifference. Rudy Giuliani, there's only 3 things he mentions in a sentence: a noun, a verb, and 9/11. In Washington, D.C., a gaffe is when you tell the truth. The fabric of our complex society is woven too tightly to permit any part of it to be damaged without damaging the whole. Donald Trump is not to blame for the coronavirus, but he does bear responsibility for our response. And I, along with every American, hope he steps up and starts to get this right. No matter how well-intended our country is, we cannot expect other nations to trust us as much as we trust ourselves. The greatest sin a man or woman can commit is the abuse of power. I believe the measure of a man isn't just the road he's traveled, it's the choices he's made along the way. The vice presidency is not a job designed to enhance your standing. To overcome these challenges, to restore the soul and secure the future of America, requires so much more than words. It requires the most elusive of all things in a democracy: unity. Trump likes to say he's a wartime president. Well, he needs to step up and act like it. The art of living is simply getting up after you've been knocked down. Folks, talk is cheap. False promises are deceptive, and talk and revolution isn't changing anyone's life. Winning means uniting America, not sowing more division and anger. It means not only fighting but healing the country. We are decent, brave, resilient people. We can believe again. But we are better than this moment. We are better than this President, Trump. Donald Trump talks about America first. He's made America alone. The fact that our economy is 3.5 times as large as the next largest economy and larger than the next 4 combined does not make us immune from what's happening around the world. My dad used to say, "Without your word, you're not a man." Make no mistake about it. This campaign will send Donald Trump packing. This campaign is taking off. Join us. Together we shall write an American story of hope, not fear. Of unity, not division. Of light, not darkness. A story of decency and dignity, love and healing, greatness and goodness. No matter what, I'm still in this for the same reason: we have to restore the soul of this country, bring back the middle class, and make sure we bring people together. I'm not used to these standing ovations. I'm a vice president. I wasn't built to look the other way because the law demanded it. The law might be wrong. I still have my 1967 Goodwood Green Corvette, 327, 350 horse, with a rear axle ratio that really gets up and goes. The Secret Service won't let me drive it. I'm not allowed to drive anything. It's the one thing I hate about this job. I'm serious. I didn't argue that the war in Vietnam was immoral, it was merely stupid and a horrendous waste of time, money, and lives based on a flawed premise. We're seeing during this crisis just why it is so important for American workers to belong to unions, so that they have someone to fight for them and with them. We can and we must build a more perfect union. Because the American people have seen the alternative. Public servants are obliged to level with everybody, whether or not they'll like what he has to say. We can and we must build a more perfect union. Because the American people have seen the alternative. We're seeing during this crisis just why it is so important for American workers to belong to unions, so that they have someone to fight for them and with them. Ordinary people given an opportunity are capable of accomplishing extraordinary things. My message to everyone who's been knocked down, counted out, left behind: this is your campaign. We need you. We want you, and there's a place for you in our campaign. When seagull droppings landed on my head at a campaign event at Bowers Beach 2 days before Election Day, I chose to read it as a sign of a coming success. It required a lot less energy, intelligence, and competence to run against government than to try to make government work. No one should be forced to stay with their abuser because they don't have the resources to leave. Politics doesn't have to be a raging fire, destroying everything in its path. Every disagreement doesn't have to be a cause for total war. The oil companies don't need an incentive of $4 billion to go out and explore. As my grandpop would say, they are doing just fine, thank you. Just because our political heroes were murdered does not mean that the dream does not still live, buried deep in our broken hearts.